Hi, good morning everyone. This is Nishma Singhal. I'm the founder and CEO of Zoevent Pets. So, people who don't know about me, I am a master's in cosmetics and perfumery. I have done my European fragrance and cosmetics masters from Paris. I have done my MBM from Italy in cosmetics and perfumery. So, today we are actually having Dr. Deepa Katyal. She is the leading vet practitioner in Bombay. She would be joining us shortly. And let me just add her and we can start with the questions. And if you guys have any questions related to, we cannot, you cannot. Okay. Is it better now? Can you hear my voice now? Can you hear my voice, dear, now? Okay, I'll just, put it over here. So, so we would be shortly Dr. Deepa Katyal would be joining us shortly. And so we would mostly be asking her questions like, there's a sudden season change and how to take care of your pet. So let me just add her. She would be joining us shortly. So, guys, please be ready with your questions. So, we have tracked down few questions, which are generic for new pet parents also, and pets who are old enough. So, yes, do you have soot tail shampoo for cat and how to heal soot tail? Okay, so we'll ask this question to Dr. Deepa only, and let's see what she reverts. Let me try and adding her again. So she haven't joined in as yet. So what sort of questions we would be asking her, that as there is a sudden change. So sudden change, like how to take care of your pet, what steps needs to be taken around. As there is a season change, like suddenly, winter have started, like it have started pouring, especially in west part of India. And so what sort of feeding and food needs to be given, and if you want to do grooming, what sort of steps which needs to be taken care while we are in this sudden change, and any difference what we have in dog and cat during taking care of them during winters, and how do you overcome, if your pet has chills during the night or during the day as there is a season change, and how to take care of small pups in the winter. So these sort of questions we have gathered, and keep on pouring up your questions, and so hopefully she'll join soon. So she'll be with us shortly. So thank you so much, Rikita. So Deepa ma'am, please try to rejoin the live and wear your earphones. Thank you so much, Little India Foundation.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's perfect, ma'am.
Okay, sorry about this delay because I just couldn't get an understanding of why I was not able to connect.
Okay, no issues there, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good, very good. Tell me.
So, at last, we have Dr. Deepa Katyal. I'll tell a little bit about her. So, she is the leading vet practitioner in Mumbai. She have completed her masters in parasitology from Mumbai. She have traveled to Australia to pursue her second masters in vet studies. So she's associated with PETA, RAW, TSPC, and several other organizations. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us.
Thank you for giving me this platform to talk about your questions and answer your questions and give some information to the live viewers.
So let me start. So firstly, what inspired you? Like you were doing you did your masters in parasitology, and then you did again your masters in vet. So vet studies. So what inspired you to be like a vet?
Um, well, basically, I think it's very karmic for me, and I couldn't have been anything else. So I was born with the desire to be with animals. Unfortunately, my upbringing was in a business family where we could afford keeping dogs. Um,
Ma'am, you're on mute.
I got into this whole profession because my environment was enriched with the animals, flora, and fauna. And that gave me the advantage of knowing my first pet. And
Hmm.
being in a surrounding like Bombay, you don't get to visualize too many animals. But whenever we would go on a holiday, we were blessed to go on good holidays. And if we visited sanctuaries and all, I thought it was a very exciting thing for me to just be with these animals. And yeah, that's how I think rescues. My dad was very fond of animals. He used to take me to the zoo, and I think that bonding started as a child only because of the enriched environment with animals.
Okay. That's superb. That's superb. So, what's like, what sort of facilities do you have in your clinic? Like, do you have a clinic or do you have a hospital? And where is it located?
So basically, I have a clinic in Chembur in Mumbai, and it is located in the eastern suburb of Chembur. And I have been in practice for almost 27 years now,
Yeah.
um, which is like a long, long time to be in work. So I started very early, and I started my practice as soon as I finished my graduation.
Okay.
Post that, I took up the first master's in Bombay Veterinary College as a parasitologist, and
Wow.
in the parasitology uh, section, and I did my master's there. I started practicing before I did my master's, which gave me an understanding that I need to do more in exotic animals and wildlife, because the thing was that we had very basic thing, which the school at that point of time, we were only 6 girls, so veterinary
Hmm.
science was not considered as a very sort of a lucrative or something like that for women. But because of the strong bonding I have, and I wanted to do veterinary science, I went against my father's wishes, and he wanted me to do human medicine. I found myself running a practice, doing my first master's. Then I had the great privilege of getting some scholarship and going abroad to Australia to the University of Queensland in Brisbane. And I did my master's in veterinary studies, in which I actually did bird medicine and some exotic animal medicine. There I had the good fortune of seeing work with Steve Irwin, and I
Wow.
went to a zoo and I did like a small program, where the students can sort of work hands-on with the animals. And I
Hmm.
remember there was a wildfire outbreak in New South Wales, and we went as a team for rescuing. Uh, we went as a team for rescuing wildlife. And then once we went there and I started doing those rescues, the burnt animals, taking care of them, I really realized that we have so much more to learn than what we
Hmm.
are learning from the theory that we have. So I think
Actually.
that gave me a whole new picture of what do I do when I get back. So when I got back to India, I restarted my work, and I started doing a lot of work in wildlife and birds, along with the animals that I was taking care of, dogs, cats, and all that. And I always had this desire to work more for paralyzed or handicapped animals. because I really thought that every time a case came of trauma where the animal was knocked out or the spine of the animal was injured, they had no other option but to just put the animal down. Because क्या करेंगे अगर वो जानवर चल नहीं सकता है तो out of sympathy we just take that call, right? Then I realized that no, this is not it. And then my own dog unfortunately got into a syndrome called as introvertible disc disease.
Okay.
When he was sort of paralyzed at the age of 12, which is a good age for a German Shepherd, but we obviously couldn't see him like that, and he used to feel very guilty when we used to pass the catheter and make him pee, clean his poop. I really thought that we must have something else to help alleviate the pain because he used to have a lot of painful nights. So I started doing a lot of groundwork in understanding how do I help him. And in that whole thing of understanding how do I help him, I came across these online courses, these courses which were there in the United States and Australia and China and all, which were integrated medicine. And that time we were not very exposed to, integrated medicine because we really don't know. Even then, it was an upcoming field in the United States itself. So I started researching, and then the first thing I did was I got a wheel cart for my dog, which was a very, very new thing for everybody around the space that I was staying in, because these were almost around 2 decades or maybe 1.5 decades ago that I started doing all this work. And then a lot of people, when they saw me walking my dog on the road, they were like, oh my God, how lucky this animal is, and can we somehow get the same facility for my dog. And then that's what I said. It made me really realize that, my God, there's so many more things that we really need to do for these animals and we're not doing for them. In the interim, I got my first course in acupuncture, which was, I don't know, maybe a little more than half a decade ago, or maybe 8 years back, I think. After I did that course, there was no looking back. When I came back from the US, I started working on animals. My first case was a 63 kg Labrador Retriever, which had got into myelitis, which is a spinal injury. The dog went on a trip to Mahabaleshwar, got out of the jeep, and because she was a very heavy dog, she just collapsed and she got paralyzed. And imagine the weight of the dog was 64 kilos. And I clearly remember the owner came to me and she was like crying and weeping because the dog meant everything for her. She had lost a family member and they were very attached to the dog, like we all are. And she started touching my feet and she said, like, everybody in the hospital, in the other clinics have told me to put this dog down because she's too fat and she'll never be able to walk. I went online and I connected with my superiors and my mentor, Dr. Mike Petty, started giving me some directions as to how I should work on this animal. And it took me exactly 3 months of a lot of perseverance, a lot of acupuncture, a lot of pain management. And after 3 months, this 64 kg dog started walking.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think that was something that made me understand that this is not mumbo jumbo. This really works. And I think that case changed the whole paradigm, made a whole paradigm shift in my life. So after I presented that case to my my senior, my mentor, he said, you have so much potential, because at one point of time, all of them were asking me to put this dog down. Even my colleagues abroad. But because I pushed it, I got this dog walking. They were so impressed with my perseverance that they told me to give like a small sort of a thing with what I really want to do with getting this knowledge for pain management. And I presented other couple of cases which turned around, and then I was invited as a board of director internationally in the International Veterinary Academy of Pain Management.
Wow.
I think I was the first board of director from India to be acknowledged internationally. and I was sharing space with I don't know who's who of the pain management space. Like everybody who's probably written textbooks, I was sharing a space with them. Being an
Wow.
Indian coming from a background like this, it actually made me feel like I am one of the most luckiest individuals on the surface of the earth. The day I did my first meeting, and the best part for an Indian was like I got paid tickets from them, and I got to learn everything at a very nominal fee because the courses were very expensive. And then there was no looking back. I started working in a lot of other veterinary clinics. I did pain management for reptiles, pain management for primates,
Wow.
you name it. And I got the opportunity to work at that center for pain management. Then I met Dr. Liliani Alvarez, and trust you me, after Dr. Mike Petty, she was a person who shifted my space completely. At the Animal Medical Center in Manhattan, I spent around 2 weeks with Dr. Liliani, and she, uh, she, the patience she had with her animals, the acupuncture, the other facilities like the underwater treadmill, the magnetic belts, the various other modalities that they had and which we were not exposed to, sort of shocked me, and even physical therapy. That was the first time, like people are now hearing about physical therapies and all. I actually witnessed and I did physical therapies in dogs at that point of time. It was such an amazing experience. I cannot tell you. I think after that I came back and I said I want to have this kind of setup. But we are in a city like Bombay, and space is the most precious thing. But
Yeah.
today I'm proud to say that after years of struggle, 8 years of the desire to have a bigger setup, have everything of integrated medicine for a mobility, um, for my mobility patients, I have all the facilities now for them, except the underwater treadmill, which I am soon aspiring to get. So I got this cold laser um, technology, which is called photobiomodulation, and I
Wow.
had a huge privilege of meeting Mr. Ratan Tata. He
Wow.
invited me to meet him, um, basically to understand how we can improvise mobility in our country, because his dogs had the same issue. And then
Okay.
he learned from someone that I have a lot of formal training in this, and he was so impressed with the meeting that we had. He was kind enough to gift me certain things which I needed for my mobility, and
Oh, wow.
it was like God sent to me, and like the Midas touch, like okay, मैं तुझे ये देता हूँ तथास्तु, ऐसे
Wow.
kind of thing happened to me in my life. So somewhere I think that I had created shifts in a lot of strays which came to me, a lot of wildlife that came to me, monkeys that came to me, dogs that came to me, cats that came to me, and I never said no. I never said put them down. I gave them a chance, and fortunately, they say that when you heal an animal or when you treat an animal with full faith, without expecting anything in return, I think
Yeah.
God somewhere knows your space in the universe. And there he was, Mr. Ratan Tata, and I was so stupid and so much in awe of him that I didn't take a picture for memory. But yeah, so that was, again, there were lots of shifts in my life, and this is the best shift that happened to me, where I came into a larger space, and I have a huge clinic now with
That's
all the
amazing.
capabilities. And I do acupuncture, I do cold lasers, I do physical therapies for animals, and I also am planning to teach these modalities in the near future. So I'm in
Wow.
between doing a neuroacupuncture course and doing a hands-on. Let's see if God is kind. Maybe someday I will be able to pass on my knowledge to people who want to learn, because I have seen the miracles that integrated medicines do. I have seen the miracle that pain management brings a smile on an animal's face. I have seen changes, shifts that I have helped so many of these creatures big and small. So I think every veterinarian who has the desire to learn this, even if he cannot afford it, he should get the privilege of learning this. If I can extend some help to these kind of people, these kind of vets.
That's amazing. That's such an amazing work you are doing, ma'am. Thank you so much. I mean, wow. I mean, I'm in awe with you, KJ. You're doing such an amazing work. Thank you so much. So,
So,
my next question, there's a sudden weather change, and how should we take care of our furry ones and our pets? Yes, ma'am, please go ahead.
So basically, sorry about this. I don't know what happened with the connection, but the thing with monsoons and, like I said, the global warming is it's very crazy, and we really need to understand what is happening in our space. But with most of our patients, what we actually see with changes in the weather is stomach infections in dogs. And I think though a lot of people find it very crazy to make the dogs wear shoes, but I think to begin with this discussion, we need to talk about leptospirosis, which is highly prevalent, and we are we are endemic to leptospirosis in our part of the town. And rats are everywhere. Gutters get blocked so easily. There was a crazy rain that happened yesterday, and a lot of
Yeah.
places had waterlogging. So obviously, for pet dogs and for strays, we have to understand that you can't make strays wear shoes, but
Yeah.
leptospirosis is spread by the pee of the animal. So the thing is that when those animals are actually uh, walking on the road, they pick up this infection from rat urine, and because of the blocked gutters, water gets contaminated with the leptospira
Okay.
bacteria, and then this infection goes to the strays. And from the strays, if those animals, our pet dogs, are also sometimes walking around the same thing, they can
Mm.
actually get their infection from the urine. So it's
Okay.
very important to sanitize your surrounding and protect your dog, if it
Mm.
is a pet dog, by making them wear shoes, because that's the first thing that you can do. So the shoes that cannot absorb water, like maybe rubber shoes or something like that, you get plenty number of these kind of products online, and I think
Okay.
you can really save the dog a lot of trouble, because leptospirosis, yes, it is a treatable thing. Yes, everything is all good on that. But the problem is that there is a huge possibility if it goes amiss, because the signs of this disease it mimics like tick fever, it mimics other diseases like liver diseases, kidney diseases. So easily, sometimes you can miss out on the finer things, and
Mm.
your dog, if it gets delayed treatment, can pass away because of this disease. Secondly,
Yeah.
is gastroenteritis. So try to not change too much food of your pet,
Okay.
because sometimes changing food abruptly, even in bigger breed dogs, like the meat that you're getting, or
Mm.
even dog food, the way the food has to be kept has to be very well understood. Like, you should not have moisture inside the boxes, because they can get some kind of funguses which can create gastritis in these dogs. So I think it's very important to take care of these small things,
Mm-hmm.
rather than worry about a lot of things, because your basic problems can start right here. And of
Okay.
course, for the cold winds and all, we all have a lot of protections. But I think that we should be very considerate for the indies and the street animals also. If they are
Mm.
taking shelter in your building, or they come
Mm.
into your house or your shops or whatever, do not shoo
Mm.
them away. Make sure
Okay.
that you're keeping some warm blanket or whatever you have, even like a rug, even like पुराना rug भी चलेगा उनको warm रखने के
Mm.
लिए. So I think we should be very considerate, if we don't want to talk about making small homes for them and all. These are the basic
Mm.
things that one person can do.
Okay. Okay. So, firstly, I would like to say, so what is the exact age when a pet should be adopted, or as people they buy from breeders? So, what is the appropriate age when a pet, when a pet should be bought at
See,
home?
the if a person has to buy the dog, he has the advantage of selecting the age. I think 60 days is around 2 months, is something that I feel that one must buy the dog at that age. A lot of people say, oh, smaller dogs are also fine, 1 month dogs are also fine. And most of the breeders who are actually keeping these puppies are always worried about infection from the surrounding, and they like to palm off these dogs at the age of less than a month. Definitely never less than a month. 45 days is still okay, doable. But if you're a first time owner, the whole equation only changes because you don't know how to take care of a dog. And I always tell my clients one thing, always tell them this, is that we have to understand that these dogs, these puppies are like human babies. If you're a
Yeah.
first time mother,
Yeah.
you're not going to have so much confidence of taking care of the child. So if the child gets diarrhea, you can make mistakes. Similarly, taking care of a small puppy is like taking care of a child. You're not going to have major shifts in the food. So always, this is something that one should really take a message home, is that when you're buying a dog, and if the breeder is a responsible breeder, he will make sure that he'll give you the older food that he has been giving his the puppies, or if he's weaned off the puppy from the mother's milk. Always have a puppy that has been weaned off, that has been put on some kind of solid diet, is very important. Also, one more thing which I always tell my patients is beware of milk and milk products. So supposing the
Okay.
breeder has told you that हाँ थोड़ा सा दही दे दो या दूध दे दो डाइल्यूट करके, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होता है, don't ever do that, because the milk from house to house is different. Dahi from house to house, the bacteria can be different, and that can create a lot of issues in your puppy in terms of digestion, and end up in gastritis. Now a lot of people say, oh, gastroenteritis ho gaya hai hamare dog ko. See, understand, gastroenteritis may not necessarily be viral. It can be bacterial because of change in diet, and it can end up fatally, or the dog can contract viral enteritis while he's sick. So one should understand where to draw the line between saying, oh, ye to parvovirus hai, ye to, and of course there are tests that are available, but no test, we all know that even PCRs in human beings is not 100% reliable. So I think right time treatment, and if you have a puppy, if it gets a single loose motion or a single vomit, don't use your head, don't call up the breeder, don't call up the person you bought the dog from, don't call up your pet shop, go to a qualified vet who will be able to guide you, because a puppy's liver, kidneys, they are not formed, they don't have a good immune system, and they can easily land up into crisis if they're not attended on at the right time. I think this would be my major tip to new dog owners about gastritis.
Oh, wow. So, see, while taking, like, there's season change and winter is coming. So now, I mean, we do experience in, like, west part, I mean, north part, we already have, east part, we already have winters. We have started slowly and steadily getting, like, cooler weather in west part of India as well. So, is there any difference when it comes to, like, taking care during it for dogs and cats, like during winters?
Yeah, so see, cats are more sort of sluggish animals, and they're more nocturnal. But when you talk about pet animals, is very different from outbound cats. But
Okay.
pet cats, I think they love the warmth, so they go and sit on top of the refrigerators, or sometimes outbound cats will actually go and sit inside your car, which is warm. So for outbound cats, or people who stay in societies which is infiltrated with a lot of animals, please make sure to check your car bonnets and under this thing to for any animal. Sometimes you have snakes, pythons, and if you're in an area which is a warm place, you will have reptiles go into your car boots or place where it's very warm. So one must be very careful if you are worried about an outside environment. But inside the house, keeping those animals warm is something very very common that anybody knows that they need to do. So when we have dogs also in our vicinity, we make them wear like in our homes, sorry, not in the vicinity, we make them wear t-shirts and warmers when they are inside the house. you will obviously be a little extra careful about keeping the aircon on. But see, Bombay, there is a huge shift in like the weather right now, so it's very
Yeah.
difficult to say how the weather is going to be in this now this time. If it gets very cold, then obviously even for humans we hardly have 3 days of wearing sweaters and then we are back to our normal wear. But in case of animals, like I said, everything is available under the roof, and we have Amazon, we have so many new shops that are coming and they're importing really beautiful stuff. I think we
Yeah.
should have some sort of thing for our pets also to keep them warm. Besides that, like for cats, the only thing I would say is, because sometimes they can get a little overboard in keeping themselves warm and they can get burns, and cats are sometimes so lazy that they don't even realize. I have seen a number of cases like this when the cat is gone and sat on a very hot part of the fridge or something and easily get their hair gets burnt or they get slight burns and they don't even realize till you
Yeah.
actually find like a mark on their body. That is very crazy, but it has happened with a couple of our patients, especially from Mahabaleshwar and these little more colder places when they get their animals back when they're going on a vacation. So I think all these small things need to be taken care of. Otherwise, hot water bags सब लोग के पास होते हैं, and just because you want to give that extra niche to your animals, a lot of people like mentioning here they have reptiles also at home. Um, Legal, illegal, but this is just a tip that reptiles become very sluggish in this weather. So if you own a reptile, make sure that they are kept warm and you're giving them enough facility to be warm in this weather. Otherwise, they can perish because their metabolism is really down. Food के हिसाब से भी, if you ask me about the food that you need to give, this is the best time to buy a puppy. Reason being that obviously in the summers and in the rains there are more chances of them getting other infections, especially gastritis and all those kind of things. In this weather is generally the weather where we do surgeries in our practices more if they are elective, because chances of getting them infections are far more lesser. I'm not talking about this off sort of rain that came in. I'm just talking about general winters. So there, if you have elective surgeries, we generally want to do elective surgeries because healing occurs more quickly. Secondly, is when you want to buy a puppy, this is the best time because they tend to get lesser infections in this weather. Chest infections are common, Bordetella is common, so make sure your dog is going through the Bordetella vaccine. I think this is pretty much what I would think of doing for my pet.
Oh
For
wow,
my
that's
clients,
amazing. So, one question that how to overcome if a pet feels chilling cold instead of winter care? Like if they are feeling like that chilliness. So, what should be the immediate action?
So, see, if they are shivering because of cold, first of all, you need to identify whether it's cold related or no. So, I think
Okay.
every pet parent, then again, here we are talking about pet parents. See, I keep saying this because I am a vet who actually manages a shelter also. We have
Okay.
our Kalote Animal Trust, which I am a part of. So things change in a shelter, things change in pet animals, things change in stray animals. So here I'm generally talking about pet animals. I think every pet owner needs to take care of or understand how to check the temperature of the dog. So if the dog is shivering, and you need to first identify the temperature if it is normal. Having said that, the normal temperature in a dog is 100 to 102 degrees. Um,
Okay.
uh,
Degree
and
Celsius or degree Fahrenheit.
sorry?
100 and
Yeah, so
102
101 to 100 to 102 degrees Celsius is the
Celsius.
normal temperature in any dog or a cat. Cats can sometimes have a higher temperature than us, than the cats, and sometimes get away with that. It's still fine for them to have that temperature, but if they are also shivering, showing you signs of a color changing on their tongue or warm breaths, I think that is a sign to make them understand, that the dog is feeling very chilly And in that case,
Okay.
obviously, the basic thing that you can do is you can't just put a hot pad on the dog. And generally, I don't prefer a heating pad. I always prefer a hot water bath, because heating pads can dehydrate your animal. And sometimes, if you're not very careful, you can end up burning your pet also,
Yeah.
because it's after all an electric gadget, and it can actually give up on you and
Absolutely.
create crisis.
Yeah.
Somehow I'm a big fan of hot water bag. Also,
Okay.
lighting, warm lighting helps, and we have infrared lights. If people have that, it works to their advantage. Then obviously
Okay.
the most important thing is covering the extremities of the animal and the ears of the animal.
Okay.
So you can just sort of, even if you don't have a hot water bag, and
Mm.
you just want to protect an animal, just heat up water, take your plastic bottles, have couple of them
Okay.
around, because Bisleri bottles, empty bottles, you get obscene number of them. Put a sort
Yeah.
of a chadar on top of that, place the animal, especially if they're puppies or they're stray kittens, stray pups. I'm sorry, I'm always talking about our rescues, is because they probably need the most help in this kind of weather, and because puppies and kittens can easily fade away if they don't get warmth, because if they are stray and they are abandoned, they need to keep their heat. You need to keep them very warm, otherwise they fade away.
Yeah.
Similarly, birds, sometimes now I almost got a couple of calls from people who've rescued birds yesterday. If anybody who is watching this and have rescued a bird, make sure that before you do anything else to a bird, keep it very, very warm. So coming back to dogs and cats, yeah, this is the tip, and of course, keeping them warm with all these things is going to manage them and keep them, cozy.
Mhm. Okay, so we have couple of questions from a few pet parents. Cats of Aligarh says, "What should I give my cat for better growth and health?"
For better
And
growth and
also,
health.
yeah, and also, what food should I give it to them to keep them warm from inside?
See, basically, जैसे हम लोग इंडियंस बिलीव करते हैं कि हम अपने
Hmm.
आप को वार्म रखने के लिए ड्राई फ्रूट्स खाते हैं, या
Hmm.
पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट्स लेते हैं. The
Hmm.
situation in an animal is little different. Like, a lot of people say that a lot of meat eating animals
Hmm.
they are naturally warm from inside. A lot of theories also move around animals कि ये चीज की तासीर वार्म होती है तो उनको देना चाहिए. अभी सबके जानवरों को ड्राई फ्रूट्स या पर्टिकुलर चीजें नहीं मिल सकती है. सो अ
Hmm.
कैट इज मोर ऑफ अ नॉन वेजिटेरियन ईटिंग एनिमल. एंड ये क्वेश्चन में ये इम्पोर्टेंट है बोलना कि ये कितनी उम्र की बिल्ली है, बिकॉज अगर ये एक बहुत बूढ़ी एनिमल है तो उनको इतना नरिशमेंट नहीं देना चाहिए, क्योंकि कैट्स जनरली हैव वेरी बैड लाइफस्टाइल डिजीज, and a lot of cats generally go into kidney problems with giving them too much meat, because lifestyle disease may obesity, also urinary infections, dental diseases are very common. So he
Okay.
has to be very specific when he's asking this question. So nevertheless, I'm considering this to be a middle-aged animal, and I'm saying that because cats are meat-eating animals, I don't know what he's been feeding his animal, but a
Okay.
balanced diet of all kinds of meat
Hmm.
without bones is what will keep them warm and healthy and happy. So also carbohydrates are needed. If they are
Okay.
into pet food, the pet food industry has lost a lot of
Yeah.
premium quality food. But I generally give this tip to my patients, is to add, if the animals are Persians, or they are one of those lazy animals that are
Hmm.
not very heavily doing too much activity, um,
Hmm.
and are really, really inbound, then these animals should get proteins which will not really be very harmful for their kidney.
Okay.
So sometimes, if pet owners, for convenience, give cat food after the age of 2 years, I ask them to start
Hmm.
adding some renal diet to balance the
Okay.
protein content in these cats. So
Okay.
I think this should sort of be okay as an answer to this question, because it's an incomplete question.
Okay. So then again, hello, my cats still prefer to sit on floor in winters. What can I do for them?
See, animals have their own intellect. If they are feeling hot or warm, and then again, this is incomplete because I don't know whether it's a largely coated cat or a short coated cat.
Yeah.
But these animals, their body temperatures are more higher than us, and maybe the kind of cold that is for you is not for the cat. And animals have their own intellect. They will know what is good for them. So
Okay.
if they prefer sitting in a cold environment, it's up to
Hmm.
them. They're not stupid. If they feel cold, they can also go inside your cupboard and sit if they're really cold. So don't worry about it. They can choose their own thing. Unless the cat is sick and not responding, then it's a totally different thing because it will show you more clinical signs.
Okay. So, Teju Pandit says, please do something. So, vets and also common people who wants to help animals, especially stray dogs who are facing extremely bad situation. Okay. So this is
I
thank
didn't get
you.
the question.
No, so he was actually requesting pet parents and vet to do something for the stray dogs and cats and pets. So, Antrish Pet, he's saying many people got tensed about for dog growth. Can you please tell something about this?
About dog growth.
Yeah. So it's a very generic question what you have put in. Many people get tensed about the growth of their dog. So, can you please share some light on
See,
this?
the most important thing is first of all, this is a very generalized thing. So I don't know what you are actually trying to ask, but this is something that a lot of people ask us when they are bringing in their dogs, and they keep comparing these babies to the other babies that are there. We have to
Hmm.
understand that when you are buying a dog, now there is a shift in the question here. If you have adopted a dog also or you're buying a dog, you don't have a control over the genes of the animals. Just in case, for making you giving you a very basic example is, in a family where there are two brothers and two sisters, they may not be completely same in the frame, in what
Hmm.
frame they are. Their body frames can be different. One can be very
Absolutely.
large boned and he could have gone on his father. One could be very small
Absolutely.
framed and gone on his mother. In animals
Hmm.
and humans, the biggest difference is that animals have more bigger litter size. So
Okay.
it's very important to understand. Like if I have maybe just two babies in a litter, obviously
Hmm.
those dogs are going to be larger sized animals.
Hmm.
Similarly, if the litter is going to have 6 or 12 puppies and not two puppies, those babies are
Hmm.
not going to be very big in size. So one has to understand that all this also depends on the genes and the litter size of the animal. So if
Okay.
you've got a dog and you don't have enough information from the breeder, then the vet cannot do
Hmm.
anything. Because a lot of people give beautiful
Hmm.
diet to their animal, which is totally balanced, and they're still their dogs are very short framed, lean,
Hmm.
and also it depends on the metabolism of the animal, just like human beings. So then again, I think this is an appropriate answer for you to just take
Okay.
back tips home.
Okay. So there's Mr. Ashish. Doctor, you are so kind and helpful. Because of you, my two babies are having a life and doing good. So thank you, doctor. So
Thank you.
Ashish is saying thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm looking for more questions. So there was one related to a cat. What is cat shrewd? Cat tail shrewd.
Sorry?
Yeah, even I did not. Let me just. Yeah, I'm just getting back to that question. I'm just trying to find that question. Someone asked, what is cat shrewd and how to cure it? Shrewd, something like that.
Shoot. Yeah.
Joyful. So, what is the right age for a female cat to get neuter? And first heat important? What is neuter?
Neuter is to operate, and spay or neuter is a general term which we use for animals when we take off their reproductive organs, basically.
Oh,
The most important thing here that we need to understand is it's a very big topic of debate. A lot of then again in street animals and in pet animals, a lot of things are very different. In pet animals, generally we do that after their first heat, because obviously there are some repercussions in dogs and cats, especially with their growth plate, if you do it before their hormones set in. So basically, first heat cycle in female dogs is very necessary.
okay.
But in the street animals, the situation is very different because we want to control population. people operate dogs which haven't gone through their first heat cycle. That is also
Okay.
done. So this is the major difference. But in our practices, we generally allow the animal to come into their first heat before we operate them.
Okay. So what is stood tail is stood tail in cats?
Stud tail.
Okay. So they
Stud
had written
tail.
SP. Okay.
So basically, stud tail is on top of a cat's. Generally, male cats get that. It's basically they secrete. See, cats are more pheromonal, and they secrete some secretions out of certain glands, which are near their ears, on top of their tail, on their chins. That's why you'll often see cats move in that direction, and they'll go under the table and they'll start rubbing their backs on the table. It's basically to leave this micro secretions from their skin pores, and sometimes these pores can get blocked because of sebaceous secretions and can get infected, and it can become black in color, and it's commonly called as a stud tail. So basically, if you're not keeping your animal clean, there are some oil gland secretions over there which can get infected with bacteria, and that is generally called stud tail. So if you keep it clean, then they generally don't have that problem.
Okay. So if someone do get stud tails, what sort of things need to be done?
So first of all, you first need to clean that area with a basic, antiseptic solution, like maybe betadine or these good shampoos that are available, antibacterial shampoos, and clear that area and see if the area is not having any secondary infection. If it is, then you should show it to a veterinarian to before you do anything.
Okay, okay. So the last question is my Shih Tzu is 4 month old and what sort of a food should be given?
My
Shih Tzu is 4 month old and what sort of a food should be given?
So then again, it depends on if he's got this dog from a breeder. He should understand what the breeder has been giving the dog. Because starting directly packeted food, if I give you a particular brand, which I generally will not suggest, is the brand that the puppy has been eating. If you're happy with that, continue that. According to the body weight and age, there is a plan mentioned on back of the bag that can be done. Otherwise, basically, sometimes if you're giving non-vegetarian to the dog, to the pup, you have to do it judiciously. Try to avoid milk products because they can be lactose intolerant. A balanced diet can have good vegetables, especially boiled vegetables like pumpkins, carrots, beetroot, and all can be actually boiled and given to the dog. Never give them kacha vegetables, and no bones and no human food added to that. So I think a judicious portion, because they are not a very heavily exercising dog, can be done about 2-3 times a day in smaller portions of these things to balance. Some people also, if the dog doesn't have a skin condition, they also add rotis, chawal, sweet potatoes, boiled sweet potatoes, and
Hmm.
these things can be given in proper proportion to this animal.
Okay, okay, great. Okay. We were just about to, and another question came in. What is the best home cooked food we can give it to cats? And what is the right? Okay, yeah, Neha only had have asked. What sort of a best home cooked food we can give it to cats?
A home food generally is a combination of meat. So you can't only keep the cat on fish because if they get deficiencies, you have to keep a proportion of fish and chicken. And
Okay.
also, it's important to get because they are very heavy protein eating animals. You have to give them enough exercise and foraging space so that they have enough exercise and good metabolism. They build up a good metabolic activity and they play. And it also depends on an individual cat or if they're collective cats in the house. Because if there are more than one cats, then they generally have some exercise. Because if I ask you to feed the cat a protein-rich food, then sometimes they end up in kidney trouble very quickly. So this also has to go hand in hand with the amount of exercise that you're giving your cat, sorry, and get your cat's kidney values checked once a year at least, even if they are in good health clinically. because sometimes too much of rich protein food can actually cause their creatinines to go up, and it can also create urinary infections because of lifestyle disease.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, doctor. That is it from our side. And so, if we still get any questions, we will forward you, and we are hoping to get an answer. Thank you so much. Thank you for your precious time. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have a nice day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.